What's up everybody, once again my name is Matt, and today I'm bringing you the first half of a pair of videos. Now that my Skyward Sword playthrough is complete, I thought it would be fun to go over some of the things that I both loved and hated about the game. So today, we're going to be taking a look at 5 things I hate about Skyward Sword. Oh boy, let's do this. Number 5. Let's just get this out of the way first. The hand-holding. Skyward Sword just doesn't know when to stop in terms of telling you what to do, how you should do it, and when you should do it. Like, I understand it might be someone's first time playing a Zelda game, and as such you might want to help them out a bit, but when you are more than a few hours into the game and the companion is still telling the player the most obvious things, it starts to get old. This is coming from someone who actually likes Fi. Like, I think she's a cool character and could have been used a lot better in Skyward Sword, but instead, she was delegated to being a tutorial bot when one wasn't needed half the time. I honestly think a big reason for this is because this was a Wii exclusive. During the Wii's life cycle, Nintendo was trying to appeal to the casual gamer audience, and with that in mind, Fi's constant pestering makes sense. But they did this at the cost of annoying the core player base, and I think an option to reduce or minimize interruptions would have gone a long way in this case. At the very least, at least Aonuma admitted his mistake, and he promises that the next Zelda game will not have this problem. Number 4. Repetition. Skyward Sword is perhaps one of the most repetitive Zelda games there is. The amount of reused content or reused fights is laughable. A main reason for this is because you only have 4 major areas in the game: the Sky, which includes Skyloft and the Thunderhead, the Faron Province, the Eldin Province, and the Lanayru Province. On your typical playthrough, you can look forward to going to Faron at least 8 times, Eldin probably 5 times, and Lanayru 4 times, which is ironic, given that Lanayru is the largest of the 3 provinces and arguably has the most to explore. And in between all these visits, you are going back to the Sky to do something in order to further the plot in some way or another. My point is that one of the core Zelda fundamentals is exploration, and Skyward Sword completely drops the ball by having linear, segmented sections that limit the player's overall exploration. On top of that, the amount of times you have to refight certain bosses, especially if you want to get the Hylian Shield, is ridiculous. You might end up fighting the Imprisoned a total of 6 times at the very least if you want to go for 100% completion. Number 3. This might be a personal complaint, but I really don't like how the inventory system in Skyward Sword works. For 2 reasons actually. First and foremost, because it's inconsistent. Very early on, you are given an adventure pouch that can hold up to 4 items. Throughout the game, you can upgrade that to 8 slots to carry your gear, and at first you might think, oh, they wanted to make Zelda more realistic. Link wouldn't really be able to carry all that stuff with him at all times. Well, if that was the case, how come the main items are excluded from this? You see, the main items have their own separate menu, and once acquired, they stay with you at all times, so that completely nullifies the realism argument right there. And that brings me to number 2. The upgrades to your items do count as inventory. For instance, quiver upgrades or bomb bags. Even your shield take up inventory space. And don't even get me started on the 2 life medals you need to carry around with you if you want to have all 20 heart containers. Just so you can keep track, 3 of those 8 slots are basically reserved for your shield and the 2 life medals. That leaves you with 5 slots left to juggle between 4 empty bottles, the upgraded quiver and bomb bag, and all the other medals that give you various buffs and stuff like that. It might seem like a small complaint, but I see no reason why you couldn't just carry all those things with you all the time. Number 2. This one seems like a pretty common complaint with Skyward Sword, and it's just that the world is so small. This was the first Wii exclusive Zelda title, and every game until that point had gotten bigger and bigger. The Great Sea in Wind Waker was massive, and that was on the GameCube. Now, sure, you could argue that it was mostly ocean, but tell me, what's the difference between Wind Waker's ocean and Skyward Sword's sky? It's mostly just clouds with the occasional rock that you can land on and find a chest. Outside of Skyloft, you really only have 2 or 3 major islands: Pumpkin Landing, home of the Lumpy Pumpkin, the Isle of Songs, and like maybe the minigame islands. There just really isn't a whole lot to do in the sky, and it serves as this empty overworld you only fly through when you need to. It doesn't help that like everything in Skyward Sword is pretty much contained in those main areas, and exploration is almost pointless because Anytime you find a goddess cube, it shows up on your map showing you pretty much exactly where it is, instead of something like Hyrule Field or the Great Sea, where you can find secrets and optional side quests you wouldn't have known about unless you went exploring. Number 1. I've said this time and time again throughout my playthrough of the game, and it still remains as one of my biggest gripes with Skyward Sword: the motion controls. I know someone will defend them in the comments, but let me ask you this. How many times while fighting an enemy in Skyward Sword did they block your attack? And out of how many of those blocks were because you actually felt like you moved the Wii Remote incorrectly? Probably not that many. Now, same question, except this time, how many of those blocks were just because the game failed to interpret the correct movement? Yeah, it's probably a lot more, isn't it? That's because motion controls are flawed, and my argument basically boils down to this. When I'm playing a game, controls should be in the back of my head. I shouldn't even have to think about them. I should be able to learn the basics once, and never have a second thought. When the controls don't function properly, I'm immediately taken out of the game. For instance, let's say I'm playing Mario. B is run, A is jump. Let's say I'm halfway through a level and I'm holding down B to run, but randomly, Mario is jumping. You'd say the controls are flawed. That's essentially what happens with Skyward Sword. You'll slice and slash, but the game might mix up some of those movements and do the wrong action. Am I supposed to just look the other way when this happens and pretend I didn't see it? Look, even Miyamoto had issues with the controls when he demoed the game at E3, and because Skyward Sword is built around this flawed control scheme, it actually draws more attention to itself because the player has to constantly and meticulously strike and swing the remote in such an exact way in order to pull off the correct attack. And I'm not against games having tough enemies or having to think on your feet and react or block or counterattack the bad guys, but you can do all that and not have the player second guess every action that they're doing because of your flawed controls. Anyways though, those are the top 5 reasons why I hate Skyward Sword. Now I do want to say this doesn't mean that I hate the game as a whole or I think it's a bad game. I just think it's important to criticize something you like in order to make it better. That being said, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and stay tuned for the other side of this argument, the top 5 things I love about Skyward Sword. If you enjoyed this video, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more of my videos, consider subscribing. Once again though guys, my name is Matt, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.